Isak back to Newcastle United. Richard King crushed by Celtic. Sesko decision soon. All and more on today's show. Welcome back once again, my people. It has been a long time, but we are here once again. The Gunnaz Expresser live stream show where we cover everything football. And today we're here to chop it up with the special man himself, Mr. Arsenal, Mikel Arteta, Victor Goykeres, Victor Gunkeres, anything that you want to describe Goykeres as he is here live and direct. How's everything with you? You know, it has been a long time.
Yeah, bro. Good while since the start of the year when I do lives, but the people can expect to see we a lot more going forward, you know.
Yeah,
Bro. All is well with Arsenal. Goykeres and team got me smiling. Just need a couple more additions with the minds Eze and one to get the ball rolling, you see me?
Yeah, heard that you guys are even linked with Alexander Isak. What's going down there at Arsenal? What are you guys cooking? But we're going to discuss Arsenal today, as you know, some Arsenal fans are furious in terms of the preseason and some performances of some of the new acquisitions, such as Norgard. I would have heard the discourse across YouTube, and you know, it has been a bit pathetic by some Arsenal fans in terms of the reaction, I must say. But remember, people, like, share, and subscribe. Also, as we go along, leave your thoughts in the comment section. But the first thing that we're gonna start off with is Manchester United, right? United, they would have acquired Matthias Cunha and Brian Mbuemo. They would have also played a couple preseason games. I think Leeds was the first game, and then they played Everton, West Ham United. I think there was another game as well. But so far they have performed well. But Dicanio, in terms of United, right? Finishing 15th last season. Thoughts on United?
I haven't watched you guys a lot this preseason, to be honest. I've watched the highlights, but obviously I can't tell based off highlights. Obviously, you guys are better players, so I should expect to see better performances. You guys are adding persons that are Premier League experience, which is something that you guys haven't been doing of late. When I get players from abroad, when I really do much. So I think that Premier League experience, big up yourself, Owen. I think that Premier League experience is gonna bode well for you guys. But let's see. They still have to fit into a system. They still have to tick. And I still think you guys are miles ahead of the star performers.
Yeah. I mean, honestly,
miles behind my butt.
Well, yeah, miles behind the star performance. Obviously Arsenal, Liverpool, and City, right? But in terms of United this preseason, I think they've done relatively well. I think preseason is always a good template. It's always a good test to know where the team is at. I remember Eric Ten Hag had one specific preseason where the team really and truly didn't look like they knew what they were doing, and I think that season we finished 8th, right? So in terms of Ruben Amorim, I'm not saying that United is going to finish in the top 4 with one game left to play in the preseason. I'm not saying that they're going to finish in the top 4, but it is a much improved team to a certain extent. Amad Diallo impressing as usual. Mbuemo had his first game yesterday, didn't look too bad, right? But Ruben Amorim knows that he's under pressure, especially after finishing 15th last season, right? But talking about Manchester United, Benjamin Sesko, and we talk about a merry-go-round in terms of transfer news and who is linked to different respective clubs. Benjamin Sesko would have been linked with Arsenal at the start of the window, right? Victor Goykeres would have been linked with Manchester United. Arsenal made a huge U-turn, went for Victor Goykeres, left Benjamin Sesko in the wind, looking for a club, right? And now we see a 2-horse race between United and Newcastle United. Not too long ago, Fabrizio would have posted something on Instagram stating that Newcastle, they have sent in a much improved bid. In terms of Benjamin Sesko and what you or the few you know about Benjamin Sesko, do you think he's a good addition to United if they actually sign him to some extent?
To United, it's a stretch. I'm going to be completely honest. Big up yourself, Uptown. United is a stretch. I saw that he was linked to Arsenal, it was still a stretch then. But you have to look at the fact that he's coming into a well-oiled machine and he has some level of raw talent. Mikel Arteta is known for developing young players with that type of talent to something that is going to become great, right?
Yeah.
So it would have been a risk, but one that we could work with. Manchester United, you guys need someone that's firing. You guys need someone that is rearing and ready to go. And I just don't think that is going to be Benjamin Sesko. He could get you to another level, but at the end of the day, I think that is where you guys are at now. That is the part that you guys have to take to go forward. Baby steps to get here. That's what Arsenal had to do. Whenever they have superstars. 3 years ago, Rodrigo would never think about coming to Arsenal. Eze would never think about coming to Arsenal if he was a player that he was now 3 years ago. Right? So it's just a matter of you guys building a team, and then in a year or two, you guys can really get in those star names if you guys get back into the Champions League, right? But all in all, I'm not that worried. Yes, he could do well in the Premier League as it relates to his physicality. He has a good leap. If he comes in the Premier League, he'll be the best header of the football in the Premier League. But apart from that, what can he do technically? He played in a highly counter-attacking team. And as opposed to Goikers, even though Goikers did play in a counter-attacking team, I think Sporting keeps the ball more than Leipzig would. And they are more of the gen press type team. So it's going to be very interesting if Manchester United is to get him. I think he will suit Newcastle better. I think he'll do okay. I don't think he'll flop. But yeah, I don't think he's worth the hype that is around him now. The hype that is around him now is for that future value and what they think he can become, not what he is right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, looking at this tweet from Fabrizio Romano like 1 hour ago, Newcastle have sent official bid to RB Leipzig for Benjamin Sesko worth 90 million euros, right? 80 million plus euros plus 10 million euros add-ons on the table from Newcastle Football Club, right? No decision yet from the player in which, he's deciding as to, whether or not he wants to make the trip to Newcastle United or Manchester United. I think for any player right now, obviously picking Newcastle to some extent is the better, club in terms of what they're doing now and just the environment, obviously United is building back to some extent, right? I was in favor of Ollie Watkins, if I'm being fair, but I could see the reason as to why United is going for Sesko in the sense of if you sign Watkins, it's maybe close to what Leipzig is looking for Sesko. So why not just put on a couple more millions and, get somebody who is younger, who has a bigger upside to an extent, you know what I'm saying, and someone for the future. My fear with Benjamin Sesko is he buckles under the pressure of being at United in the first season, will it be a next Rasmus Højlund situation? Because coming into this United team, he needs to score goals, right? And if United is supposed to propel themselves further up in the table, then we need some goals from Benjamin Sesko. The only saving grace for Sesko, if it does come to this United team, is the fact that you have someone like Brian Mbeumo and Matthias Cunha, who obviously are goal scorers, So maybe on occasions they could bail him out or just bail out United in general to the point where it wouldn't really affect Sesko or it wouldn't show the for the lack of a better word, the youngness of his game in a sense in the Premier League. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Smurf is saying Gorker's celebration at Old Trafford would make me lose it. But yeah, we have to keep track of Benjamin Sesko. But on the topic of Benjamin Sesko, because it's a domino effect in this transfer window, right? Obviously linked with Newcastle United, and this is where we talk about Newcastle United and Liverpool in terms of the dilemma that Liverpool, is Liverpool the one facing the dilemma, or is it Newcastle United?
Both of them. I think the signing of Goikers really strikes fear into a lot of Premier League teams, because as much as fans act as though we know a lot about football, those teams and those coaches really do know more than us. And if you listen to all of them talk, if you listen to the pundits talk who have been there, done that, they know that the striker was the step that Arsenal needed to take and the step that was preventing them season upon season. How many times per season you've seen Arsenal leading the pack and they faltered because they got a chance that they couldn't take? We got knocked out of the FA Cup, the AFL Cup by Newcastle. Not because they were the better team on the day, but because we did not have a prolific person. Kai Havertz himself had 3 chances in each Newcastle game that he could have scored. He had a header right in front of goal, lick off my shoulder. In high stakes moments, we did not have that person. So I think teams are really fearing it, and that is why Liverpool are trying to take that extra edge to go ahead and get Isak because they know Ekitike is not going to be able to cut it. Right? They spent a lot of money for him, but at the end of the day, I watched a video the other day that talked about transfers, and 95 million euros is not as it seems nowadays, right? That amount is going to be split up over the entirety of his contract. So then Goodley has spent about 12 million a year, which is not bad for a team like Liverpool. Zin? So generally, them can't go with today. For example, Liverpool played against Athletic Bilbao, right? They actually played 2 games. And the first game was a preseason run like that. So the first game was Liverpool seaside with a few players that were on the fringes against Atletico Bilbao B-side. Zin? So basically, Roberts started at left centre back. Simica started at left back. Nunes started at striker. And when me and McAllister started in the midfield. You see, the rest of the team were lone academy players. In the second game that was played right after at Anfield, that was the main team that was here. Ekitike was the starting striker. Zin? Against Athletics Club, main team with Nico Williams and the Williams brothers and all them. My point is, Ekitike is not going to be that bagsman that Liverpool are needing. Liverpool need a bagsman right now and a statement signing because Salah is, even though he signed a new contract, Salah will be gone very soon. Time flies. Zin? And when Salah gone, they need another bagsman. You can't replace goals like that when Salah gone. And they need to find those goals before Salah leave or prepare the person to take over Salah. Right? And I think that's what they're trying to find with Isak. And they're just not going to get that with Ekitike.
Ekitike, yeah. In terms of this Liverpool situation with Isak, it's a bit of a weird one because, you know, obviously Ekitike wasn't the transfer target in terms of the number 1 target for Liverpool at the start of the window, right? Obviously it was Isak. He was heavily linked with Liverpool, and you know, Liverpool went to Newcastle, you know, and I think they inquired about Isak, and I think they made a bid, right? Was it a bid?
Yeah, man, 120 mil.
Yeah. Well, no. From the start, man. Remember, them did approach Newcastle, and then Newcastle said that he's not for sale, right? And
Ekitike?
Isak. And then at the time when Liverpool approached them, Newcastle was negotiating for Ekitike. So Liverpool made that U-turn and they were like, okay, then let's go in for Ekitike. Ekitike obviously chose Liverpool. And then Isak went to Newcastle United, kind of saying to them that he wants to leave, right? Didn't play some of the preseason games. And now it leaves Newcastle United in a situation where, okay, Benjamin Sesko wasn't souped up by Arsenal. United is in discussions for Benjamin Sesko. And Newcastle United is saying that if we don't find a replacement for Isak, then he's not for sale in some sense. And I think by right, Newcastle should hold that power by not selling Isak if they don't find an adequate replacement. Because if they don't get Benjamin Sesko, they missed out on Hugo Ekitike. Which other striker is there right now that is competent enough to play for this Newcastle United team? There's not much. Ali Watkins,
that's
no.
What
Nicholas Jackson, maybe not.
And that's where it was a bit weird with Liverpool, because why would you go in if you were in talks with Newcastle and they told you that, hey, we will sell Isak if we get an adequate replacement? You saw Fabrizio Romano, because even clubs nowadays are looking at Fabrizio Romano's page. Everyone is, because they know he's credible and they might not know something until he puts it out here. It has been very known that they were looking at Ekitike, right, as a potential replacement for Isak. So if Isak is your top target for this season, why on God's green earth you would have gone for Ekitike? The one man where them are look for to replace the man where you are planning to buy from them. Newcastle is not the same team of old. And I think that is where Liverpool mistake them, right? You know Liverpool, Newcastle.
Yeah.
Because Newcastle back then would have to sell Isak. No, they don't. They are backed by Saudi owners, right? So that is one. And two, they're now in the Champions League, right? They're in the Champions League. Exactly. So there's no, like, you have the video of the person when he go up and talks about a ball. We don't need to sell. I'll just get back that point. But yeah, the Newcastle fans, everybody knows Liverpool. Liverpool. Newcastle does not need to sell. So that was a very weird transfer from Liverpool. And I'm not sure if they're really serious about Isak. Well, they put 120 million bid out there, but if I'm Newcastle, I would have spite them and not let them go.
But I think Isak should have forced the move from the get go when Liverpool initially made contacts with Newcastle, because then they could have just went ahead and got Hugo Ekitike. And for me, Ekitike is 30. Well, you're about 33. He's 23. Isak is 25, right? Ekitike
Mm,
would have just had his first major breakout season last season, scoring 15 goals in the Bundesliga, right? So if
mm,
Liverpool does get Isak, it does affect Hugo Ekitike in terms of his game time for Liverpool. Yes, they have the FA Cup, they have the Champions League, but you think Ekitike in the long run wants to play as a backup to Alexander Isak if they do sign him? No, and he cannot play out wide on the left hand side. I think last season he did, but it was like 3 games. So he's not a winger in any shape or form. So I
mm.
think if they do sign Isak, I don't see Ekitike staying at Liverpool for more than 2 seasons. Just like Julian Alvarez came at City and he started to develop, became better. He was scoring when he started, scoring when he came off the bench, and eventually he wanted to be a starter. Wasn't going to start over Erling Haaland. He went to Atletico Madrid. I think he scored 15 goals in La Liga last season. So in that respect, it's a bit of a weird one with Liverpool, Newcastle United, and then the whole Benjamin Sesko, Hugo Ekitike thing. But
And
we have to.
in all honesty, I think Ekitike is the replacement for Nunes,
Yeah,
right? While not Jota, Isak is an upgrade on Jota. Can remember say Jota did a start up top, right?
yeah,
Upgrade slash replacement. Zine got a business, right? But it's just so weird that you have to spend so much 95 million euros on a backup and then an next 150 million pounds on um a
Alexander
starting
Isak.
player.
Yeah,
Bro, that's crazy amount of money. I'm pretty sure you could have spent it elsewhere. Zine. But Liverpool isn't a club that is known for spending over the years. So them goodly have a whole lot of leeway as it relates to profit and sustainability rules. It allows you to lose 100 million pound over a span of 3 years. And they weren't spending that much over the past 2 years. They didn't spend anything at all at the start of last season, only bringing in Chiesa. Did they buy anyone this January? No. So I think they have a whole lot of spending power specifically in this window, and they're flexing their muscles because they would be in the best place possible out of any other team in the Premier League.
yeah. For those of you guys who are watching, please go ahead and share the live, like and subscribe. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button. 39 of you guys are watching. Thank you for the support, but share, like and subscribe. But moving on, in terms of some Fabrizio Romano rumors, right? And I want to talk about Fabrizio Romano in another light as well. But in terms of some things that he would have posted, well, not rumors that much, but in terms of some transfer news, Everton submit official bid for Kiernan Drewsbury Hall from Chelsea. I think, yeah, permanent deal. Who is he joining from? Everton submit official bid for Kiernan Drewsbury Hall to join on permanent deal from Chelsea. Club to club talks underway. Chelsea open to this option with discussions ongoing on terms with Everton Football Club. I think I was watching a Fabrizio video earlier in which he stated, I think the deals are around 29 million euros. That was some Benjamin Sesko news just now. Drewsbury Hall again. Wasn't he from Leicester City?
Yeah, man, Leicester City. I think that's going to be a good move, Kieran Drewsbury. He's a very, very, very good player. Just not that top elite player that you're going to look for. He reminds me of a Granit Xhaka without the mentality of a Granit Xhaka. His play style is similar. He keeps the ball ticking, nothing too special. If you play him in the right system amongst wonderful players, then you can get the best out of him. But it's very, very specific. And I don't think that is what Chelsea is looking for now, which is why I think they're looking to sell him. But he's a very good player and he's Premier League proven. I love to see him at Everton. I think Everton is building a very good team as well. So yeah, man, that's a very good one to look forward to.
I mean, we've seen players from Leicester leave. They went to Chelsea and it really hasn't worked out. Drewsbury, Danny Drinkwater, Chilwell as well. I guess you could say to an extent. Those three that I can remember. Kante left and he did well, but Chelsea always had the exits as priority before getting Travis Simons deal done. While talks with RB Leipzig remain advanced. João Felix. Oh, good. I'm not even going to pronounce that. Drewsbury Hall. How do you pronounce this? Guy. More to follow soon as direction is clear. These are outgoings. I think Chukwemeka would have also he's heading to BVB. Darwin Nunes, I think Liverpool is in talks with Al Hilal as they view him as priority signing. Burnley, they would have signed Broja recently. Um, yeah, I think Burnley signed Broja recently, if I'm not mistaken. Adam Lukman looking to leave Atalanta. I think the president came out recently stating that they said to him that he could leave in 2025, however, not to a club in Italy. And obviously, Inter Milan is the club that wants him. So that is posing to be difficult. Alexander Isak back in Newcastle after training at Real Sociedad facilities last week. Future yet to be clarified for the striker, as Newcastle United Football Club have not opened doors for his exit as of now. And to be honest, Dicanio, I mean, he has 3 years left on his contract. So Newcastle United is not in a position to sell, if I'm being honest. But moving on, let's talk about Birmingham City, Tom Brady, and our Reggae Boyz player, Demarai Gray. There was a recent documentary with Tom Brady. Saw some clips. You would have watched it. Tom Brady was critiquing Wayne Rooney. I think he said that he doesn't come across as a leader of men, and I think he's definitely right in that sense. But in terms of the documentary with Tom Brady, Birmingham City, very ambitious club. They would have made it back into the championship after being relegated. Thoughts on the documentary and, Demarai Gray, the new acquisition for Birmingham City?
Well, bro, McClaren there early in the series, so I want to finish it. But it's a good watch so far. I rate it. Specifically because of how they encapsulate everything. They also involve fans a lot, which is something that I haven't seen the All or Nothing documentaries do. But I think it's easier to do that when you have such a small club like Birmingham that is so community based. And that made it very good because you got that raw, unedited version of the fans. The raw passion. At some point, them all post the fans, them post bad word, and it just feel real, bro. And what's also good with those smaller clubs as well, it's not like the big clubs, the owner them we go to match and them they now a higher seat away from the fans. The owner of the entire football club literally sit on a row across from die-hearted fans. So they're there consuming everything. And one thing that American owner said as well, not Tom Brady. Tom Brady has a partner named Tom something else, I don't remember his name. But he was the main owner while Tom Brady is the face. Tom Brady, because he's in sports before, the more of the interaction with the players and the coach and them type of thing there. Go to training sessions and all them things there. While the other brother, him go to the matches and him deal with the marketing and them thing there. Right? Now, even the owner himself said it that he didn't think or didn't feel as though he would have had the connection that he had with the fans when he just buy the thing. He think it would have just be a business venture. But the way you just have to just bring yourself into the culture at Birmingham City. They did it well, right? The first season they learned a lot because Birmingham got relegated, right? Which was the season before last. They spent a whole lot of money breaking their transfer record fee for Jay Stansfield, a former Leicester City Academy graduate who was on loan with them in the year that they got relegated. So they bought him the following season. And he helped them to get promoted. They got 111 points last season in League One. The same league that Kyle Dixon plays in. Barnsley with John Russell and them Monday, right? And also Wrexham came second in that league. Wrexham that got 3 back-to-back promotions. So these American owners that are backing these teams, they are really very serious. Wrexham come from non-league and now they're in the championship. And the amount of time that they did it in as well. Back-to-back promotions. I don't think I've ever seen that before in my lifetime. Right?
Yeah.
I know Birmingham knew with Tom Brady. They are there. And don't be surprised if you see one of those two in the Premier League next season. And if that is to happen, I think that amount of financial backing and that just that strength that they would have moving up, it's going to be very devastating for a lot of teams because the money is not only being spent, but it's being shown on the field. Right?
Yeah.
And I think Demarai Gray could not be in a better environment right now. They demand a lot. They are aiming for a lot. They want to be in the Premier League, and they're going to fight tooth and nail to get that. So if he is not up to standard, he can find himself out. And I think that is the version of Demarai Gray that we need. Playing in a competitive environment, right? not playing in an environment like Saudi where the stakes are not really that high. If he loses a game or if they get relegated in the Saudi Pro League, that not really affecting. It not affect the people around him or the community for that club in Saudi. But if Birmingham get relegated, people lose them jobs, right? Canteen workers lose them jobs. The community is at a loss, and that is the type of pressure that we want our players to be playing under. And I think it will get the best out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think these recent American owners, not like the Cranky and the Glazers, I think the younger ones to an extent, I think they're a bit more ambitious. I think they actually want to see these teams win. So they have been investing from very early. Ryan Reynolds as well. And I think they're getting to know the game of football as well, and the culture. They are immersed in the game by being around the team, getting to know what football is about in Europe and in England as well. Because I think for them to know it, that's the only way that these teams are going to succeed, if the owners at least have some bit of care and passion for the teams. And I think so far, Tom Brady, he has surrounded himself with the right people. Ryan Reynolds as well, he would have also surrounded himself with the right people in terms of the team gaining back-to-back promotion, that type of thing. So I think moving forward, I think Birmingham, I think they are in good hands. I think Wrexham as well, I think they are also in good hands. And I know that people in recent seasons criticized the Wrexham for the spending power that they do have, but football is not a charity business anymore. It's not something where you just bring up players from the academy and you just wait on them for like a couple seasons to develop. Teams have to spend money in order to get to the top and to succeed to a certain extent, And I think in Wrexham's case, they have spent the money well. So I don't think there's any criticism that should be laid against them. Smurf is asking, question, if Arsenal doesn't win any trophy this season, what is the next step? I think that's a question for you.
Brother, he has to go, brother. He has to go. Sick and tired of Arteta now, dog. Like, people always say, who is going to be the replacement? Fuck replacement. I don't care. Did Liverpool say who is going to be the replacement for Klopp? No, them get in slot, Harney slot, and him win them a Premier League. The Harney slot win them a Premier League. So I don't business, brother. Just get in somebody that we can do the work. Zine, they have showed that they can attract coaches that are good before. Unai Emery should have gotten us into the Champions League earlier than Arteta, right? Because he was in a top 4 race, leading by 9 points and battled it with 3 games to go. Zine, I try new things we never try all season. So if you never do that, would have ended the Champions League longer and maybe Arteta wouldn't even be here right now. The fact is, they have good talent ID when it comes to coaches. So trust your damn talent ID. And if Arteta don't win nothing this year, when he finally get the striker, then fuck off. It's that simple.
Yeah. BM is saying, I don't think the league was the issue in Saudi. Demara is just not up to standard. He was poor in Saudi the last couple of years. I mean, to be fair, he was only poor in Saudi in the last season because he only spent 2 seasons there. Don't be surprised if Demara struggles in the championship. Now, I don't think Demara will struggle in the championship.
The thing is, I wouldn't be surprised. But it's good that he's there. Because if he was in a poor environment before and he was performing poor, if he's in a better environment that there's more pressure to perform, right? And there are people there that can take him game and other stuff like that. In his home country, where he actually cares about what the press is going to say, Zine, then I think that will raise his levels. Let's see though.
Yeah. A bit more on Arsenal before we move on. Arsenal fans furious based on this preseason. Seen some criticism about Norgard. Also, there's a shining light within this Arsenal team. Remind me of his name again, the youngster.
Max Downman.
Haven't really seen him, haven't watched any highlights. But how good of a talent is he?
A killer, man.
Yeah.
They are comparing him to Kaka in the way how he glides with his long legs across the field. Come on in the preseason games on the right wing, replacing Saka. Obviously, there isn't a short-term place there for him unless there are injuries. We'll buy Madueke as a backup.
Has Madueke played this preseason?
No play yet. I'm going to play in the following game there where I come up. In after I'm signing, get a 10-day break. So I'm basically have to come back for the game where I go play for my strong. See, the 6th. So Max Doman is good, but he's 15 years old. So let's not get carried away. The good thing is that he matches the physicality of the game at such a young age, similar to what you would see from a Yamal in terms of physicality. The good thing is his dribbling. So when Saka came off and he went on, the dribbling looked like it even got better, right? Dribbling is his main suit. It's like, think of Martin Odegaard with speed, and that actually carries the ball well. So, yeah, look on a Turkey-like player. Just that him have a little bit more speed. He's creative. He loves scoring goals, which is why I'm getting that Kaka comparison. So it's a mixture of a whole lot of different players. It's not someone that you see a lot in modern day football.
Heard Simon Jordan comparing him to Lamine Yamal.
In terms of the physicality, I'm not going to say that he's at that level, but he looks like he's ready for big man football at a young age. And I think that is where the comparison would come from. Maybe not the level that he is playing at or can play at, but how he's matching that physicality, how he's dribbling and taking on players. You see a clip where the man just take the ball from Yasso. Matt Target, who is a seasoned Premier League left back. It's not like say it was a B-side Newcastle that use. Newcastle start inside bar Isak against Arsenal, right? Matt Target, the man skin Matt Target, bro, multiple times, 3 times in a row. Matt Target could hold him. And then the man win with a penalty where eventually win with the game when Martin Odegaard win the penalty. Score the penalty. See, Joel Linton have to take him down. And even after the game, Joel Linton had high praises of him, saying that he would have go far. But again, he's 15 years old. He's going to see that same trajectory that Nwaneri saw. Right? Nwaneri got him bust when he was 15, but guess what? There were other players there. So we just have to slowly get integrated. We might see him in some Carabao Cup games. And if we have injury problems, then he's there and he's competent enough to perform. But we're not going to rush him like we did players of old. He might go get that same 1 year treatment because now 1 year is on a full professional contract at 18 years old. And he's playing backup and successor to Martin Odegaard. So when Martin Odegaard left, you know, say I got have 1 year there to replace him. So a good days, bro. Good days for the youths them. 1 max.
I think in recent years, I think Arsenal is one of the few teams who they've done well with integrating the youngsters. Emile Smith Rowe would have been one. Saka would have been one. Miles Lewis-Kelly would have also been one. Ethan Nwaneri. I don't think there's anything to rush in any sense. I know that there was a contract dispute recently about game time, but I think his best thing is to stay at Arsenal under Mikel Arteta at this moment in time. I think there's a place for him, and I think there may be 1 or 2 other youngsters who I might be leaving out. Even the guy that was the striker, Eddie Nketiah, he got his chances at Arsenal. It's just that he wasn't good enough in any sense, but he did get an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So in terms of Downman, again, I haven't watched him, but I think he's in the right hands in terms of developing his game and that type of thing.
But moving on, will get into the squad faster because he's white. I think I play the race card for the one.
Who said that?
Eddie, see that on your screen.
Man, Eddie, go sleep here, man.
I don't think so.
Eddie, come on. Eddie, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard you say, Eddie. Come on, that's madness, brother.
But I play the race card for the one.
Like, bro, to bring the race card in football is you just can't have that conversation there.
No, we have it sometimes, but not for the one.
Bro, name me a player we're getting a football team because of him being white. Like,
enough ball out there, brother. I just can't get in the convo.
Bro, if you guys did know, you guys would have stayed the ball and name, bro.
I just can't get in the convo now, bro.
Name one player. Name one player.
Research.
Name one player.
Do it. Ask Eddie. I know my that me a defender.
Show me any black player at City where did more.
Ask Eddie. See man gear one there, Jack Wilshere.
Bro, that was a talent, bro. Jack Wilshere was a talent, but that just never worked out, But moving on. Ronaldo Cephas joins the Russian army, right? Kidding. But anyways, Ronaldo Cephas has joined another relegation threatened team. I think last season they finished 1 point above the relegation zone. Honestly, I'm not going to try to pronounce the name of the team, but he did join a team in Russia. There was a dispute between his former club, Ankara Gucci, and his current club. It was something around him signing for this team in Russia without their knowledge. But Ronaldo Cephas would have played a game recently, would have made his debut. In terms of Cephas to that team, thoughts on that team?
I don't know much about them. What I do know now is that they've had a pretty poor start to the season. 3 games. I doubt they've scored a goal as yet. No, I think they scored 2. They lost 3-2 in their game. The last game that they played. Before that, they didn't score. It's just another relegation threatening team that Cephas has decided to join. I guess that is his level. We can't pick up him no more and say, oh, him for the club here, him for the club here, because he continues to find himself in leagues. And remember, he had a platform that a lot of persons don't have. An international friendly tournament in the Unity Cup in London, where a lot of scouts would have been at, trying to see where's the next talent going to come from. And he couldn't get an offer in England, right? So I think the proof is in the pudding. He is a one-trick pony, and a lot of teams are to make it at a certain level. You cannot be a one-trick pony, right? So there's only a ceiling that he can go where I think he is at right now. And that is in the regions where he finds himself, the Turkish 2nd and 3rd division, right? After he went to Arnett, now he finds himself in Russia, but it isn't a top team in Russia. It's not a team that is in Europa League or Conference League or Champions League. Well, Russian teams are in a Champions League, no? But it's a team that is fighting for relegation. So I think this is going to be the theme of his career going forward. Relegation threatened teams, and he just continues to sway from one to the next. I don't see him going, if they are to get relegated, stay in Russia to play in the 2nd tier at Russia. I think he'll find another club if that is to happen. So let's hope and see. Hopefully, because he hasn't played a lot of games, so hopefully he can make that impact. Remember, he was a top scorer and assister for his last team in Turkey, even though they got relegated from their 2nd division. So let's hope and see if he can do something that propels this team and gives them some inspiration. The only thing is that he stays fit. And if he can stay fit, he must be able to get in this team because they're losing. So once he acclimatizes, I expect him to be starting. If not, then I don't think I want to see him in the national team over a Tyrese Campbell, if that is the case.
Yeah, I mean, unless the money is good, I have criticized the deal or the transfer off live stream, talking with different respective people, and they've mentioned, maybe the money is good, but I just think it's a bad move to an extent, leaving a team that would have been relegated back to back and then, heading to a team that would have just survived relegation by 1 point last season. Now, obviously, I don't know much about the club in terms of transfers that they would have done to know if there's much of an improvement in the first team. But does Ronaldo Cephas improve them? I think he's a player that can add something to a team, right? So, let's see what Ronaldo Cephas does moving forward.
Honestly,
yeah,
I'll never bash a get to youth for chasing money, brother. Honestly, that it's not like he's a European player where them grow a certain parts of Europe and them think about football, not only about the money, but as a career where they want to make a name for themselves. As a Jamaican player, I come out of the trenches, bro. Just go off on the money because I want career. See? One career you have. I some see it, bro. I'm not going to blame a Cephas for not being ambitious and going to a European club in aims of going a bit higher. Because at the end of the day, remember, he's a late bloomer.
Yeah.
As Steve McClaren said, he's not like somebody we have a team are going to take up and say, yo, this person is young. We're going to have individual specialized training for this person to develop them, blah, blah, blah. It is not like he's a championship player that is at his age where a team might take a risk on and say, all right, if he add this and this to him game, he might be different. The problem with Cephas is not his technical ability, what he can do with his left or his right. The problem is this. And you cannot train this after a certain age. We've heard even one of the best youth player development coaches in Jamaica, or not coach, but youth player development person in Jamaica, in Craig Butler, mentioned that once them pass a certain age, not even him want them. And there's a reason for that, which is why we are going off tangent a bit. But that is why, if we are even to talk about Tariq Maggi at the age that Tariq Maggi is at right now, even Tariq Maggi, after hearing those sentiments from Craig Butler over the years, why in God's green earth you would have go and think that this man could have done something for you? When he literally tell the whole of Jamaica, over the past few years, say if you pass a certain age, him cannot help you. That should show you the level where some of them players you think of, and now see them separate. He's not that gang, right? We're going to talk about that later on, because that will come here to talk about. But going back to the point, Zine, Cephas, this is the problem. We've seen it over even in the Gold Cup. He has a pass to make. In a game where we are struggling, we are suffer. You have Mikel and Tony, you can pass the ball to a player where just a come back, team score a goal. Any sensible player in world football that has proper football education knows that them will lift up their head and look if them have a player. If them don't have a player, them finish. This player decide to not even look up him and just say, yo, me I go run, go shoot and score. He plays like a primary school kid that has 99 pace on FIFA. Ronaldo Cephas is at his level, in hitting ceiling, and that is where he will be. Now, that is my analysis on the type of player he is and where his career will go. But as I say, as I get to youth, I have no problem with him if he might chase some money. Because at the end of the day, he find himself in a career where he can make good millions and he can come back. And if nothing, he can start a little real estate, buy up some property, rent them out, and him set for the rest of his life. Same way, though. So as I get to youth, big up to Cephas, bro. You do your thing, you're out there, you make your money. But as a professional in the career and the sport that I love, you hit your ceiling and you not go past it. That's what I see.
Well, yeah, I can't speak for ghetto people, but in terms of Cephas, you know, I think football in general is just an ecosystem. Some people will make it and some people won't. Some people just, you know, filter out to the smaller teams. And, you know, that's just football in general, you know. I'm sure that you have players in India and, you know, Pakistan in their professional leagues who they want to play for the Barcelonas of the world. They want to play for the Uniteds and Arsenal, but it's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think Ronaldo Cephas is just one of those players who he falls into that bracket. And I think all of us would want Jamaican players to play for the biggest of teams in the biggest of leagues. But, you know, Cephas in his life right now, it's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Is there a next big move for Cephas in terms of a more respectable league? I'm not sure, you know. If he does perform for maybe 1 or 2 seasons, then maybe our next team in Russia can buy him a better team. You know, maybe he can head to Scotland, whatever the case is, right? But I think for some football players, you know, they are motivated by the money, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that in any sense. It's just like with basketball. You see some of the biggest players who, you know, they are motivated by the money. So, you know, even if them not getting their game time, if them get a trade or whatever the case is, you know, once they make 160 million over 4 years, you know, they don't really care. So I think Cephas, you know, finds himself in that sum. You know what I'm saying?
Big up, Frankie. Big up people in the comment section. Respect and ratings for the support. Remember, hit the like button. How much likes you have on your show, person?
Until you sure, but no could continue.
Yeah, man.
But moving on, Stockport County. Malik Mothershille would have recently made a transfer to Stockport County. He would have scored a goal just yesterday, and you know, Malik Mothershille has been someone on the radar of the of Reggae Boyz fans, of, you know, the coach Steve McClaren, of the JFF in some sense, right? Very talented. You know, has a bright future ahead of him, I should say, right? I didn't see the goal. You saw the goal?
Who that again?
Mothershille.
Yeah, man, it's a tap in, but before that it had a few intricate plays when basically set it up, could I get a shot, the ball deflect, go to somebody, the person kick a shot, and it was a poacher's finish. The person ever try pass to him, he might kick a shot to go wide and him tap it in. But generally speaking, his overall play is wonderful. He can play on the wing, he can play as a lone striker, he can play as a 10. He plays right across the front line, and what he gives you is quality and composure in the final third. That is something that we don't have. We rush everything. And for a young man, a young head, his stats last season shows that, bro. Zine, he has the composure. I'm going to know who at Chelsea develop him, though.
Yeah.
Exactly. You get that player. Look on John Russell. Look at the composure that John Russell brings to the team in midfield. You can know when people get developed right and have proper coaching education. Because this is a player in Mothershille that come out of Chelsea Academy, and you can just see it as a young player that he have the proper coaching education. He knows say on every ball in him for blast and kick hard, they can place a ball in the net and still score the goal. Zine, his intelligence is up there, his pace is up there, and he's somebody that wants to play for Jamaica, has represented us in a friendly tournament, and he should be in the national team going forward. I think Roman Burrell has gotten his chance, and in a national team setup, you get your chance, you don't take your chance, and just so it go. He got the chance.
I don't think that's where I disagree with you.
Let me finish. He got his chance in the Unity Cup, yeah, in taking goal, right? However, he got chances when he came to play in actual competitive competitions, in the Gold Cup, in the qualifiers, Zine, and he missed chances when he got them when he came on. So at the end of the day, hold on one second, Masu get the floor. So at the end of the day, if you're a backup player, right, in a position that we need a bagsman, and you get the chances, in even if it's 1 or 2 games, you get the chances and you never bag, somebody else there will play at a higher level, will have better stats than you, then the person have to get the chance, my friend. You're a backup player, like say I want starting player, people are going to say, but give him a chance. Him do it for you before. No, you want backup players there. If you come on, you better make sure your bag so you can keep the backup spot there. If not, your backup spot is up for grabs. And that's what I see. Would I bring in Mothershille for Burrell?
Yeah, I think that's a ridiculous take still, but yeah. I don't think Burrell got much of a chance. I mean, enlighten me on the chances that
I watched the game.
I mean, tell me the game.
And get a slip ball through against, I think it was Honduras at home, right in front of me. I was right there.
I think it was Guatemala.
And get the chance.
Guatemala.
When come on, Zine, and in scruff him shot. He had time. That was his chance to prove. Hold on. It's not like saying he's tired and him have tired legs. He had time. The angle was perfect. He had the shot to take, and him scruff him shot. We don't need players like that, especially when we have better out there. Why you not insist on giving players chances and we need a batsman a forward?
I think that's absolutely ridiculous.
We are going to wait for this and no, we need a batsman. So if you miss, if you slip, you slide.
I think that's absolutely not only ridiculous. I think it's stupid in the sense that he would have played against Trinidad. He scored. Other than scoring, I think his overall gameplay was good. But against Guatemala, okay, he missed one chance. If Victor Goycrest plays against United in the first game of the season and he misses his first opportunity or the only opportunity of the game, is he all of a sudden a bad striker? No, strikers miss goals. Messi
games a season. But games a season in a club football. In qualifiers, you have 6. How much is the percentage of that? How much is the percentage? You have 6 games in qualifiers. In the Premier League campaign and the entire season, Goycrest will have 60 games to make up himself. That is the difference. That's why you don't have the time to say, yo, you're going to give this person the time because he might go bed in, and when he finally bed in. No, you have 6 games. So if a person coming in a situation that is the situation he's going to be in, Burrell will never be your starting striker over the next year. But now I say in the future, the next year, Burrell will never be our starting striker. I make it look like some of an agenda against youth when I don't.
It's obviously an agenda, bro.
Burrell will never be our top striker over the next year. We have 6 games to make it to a World Cup. His role in the team right now is to be a backup, to come on and prove that you can be a starter. If you have fresh legs against a weak opponent, you get a chance, slip through, the perfect angle for you to finish, and you scruff your shot. That alone tells me what I need to know about you and your competence. And the know I need to try somebody.
Bro, let me say this. Bro, may I go fight, because you want to be ruthless, but you're trying to be ruthless in a way that it doesn't make any sense. Scruff shot, because he have a scruff shot against Guatemala when he probably played like 10 minutes or so. Not saying a striker shouldn't be clinical in front of goal. But okay, missed the opportunity. He scored against Trinidad, but the guy wasn't even given another chance even after that. No, let me just say this. He wasn't given a fair chance even after that Guatemala game, which was the last game of the group. Jamaica won that game, 3-0 or something like that. I want to tell me that, all of a sudden, Burrell isn't competent enough or he's not going to be the striker over the next year. Listen. You don't drop a striker like that just because he missed one chance against Guatemala. It's absolutely ridiculous. The guy wasn't given a chance against Guatemala in the first game. He wasn't given a chance in the second game, a fair chance. And in the third game, he wasn't even on the bench. So what are you talking about? In terms of because of one shot the man missed or one chance the man missed against.
Do you want Malik Mothershille in the team?
Listen. Everybody knows how
answer one question there. Because you try to make this harder than it is.
Before I get to Mothershille, let me say this, right? Everybody know how bad the National Stadium pitch is, right? That could have played a role in terms of him missing a chance against Guatemala. Not to say that that was the case, but it's one chance the man missed. He scored against Trinidad and
The
Tobago.
man had other chances as well.
Other than scoring against Trinidad and Tobago, he had a good overall game. Why is it that Boyle is the one that would have left?
What was his game like against Nigeria?
Let me just say this.
What was his game like against Nigeria?
Okay, but Jamaica sat back against Nigeria, so he's not going to have any opportunity.
Shit, that was Trinidad Seaside.
But let me say this, right?
That goes to show
Nigeria
that
was a better team than the Reggae Boyz. Jamaica had to play. We had to drop deep and play defensively and try to hit them on the counter attack. You're not going to get a lot of chances.
So why are you telling me about a goal that he scored against Trinidad?
Let me say this, right?
That does not count.
But listen, irrespective of the team, he scored, and the Unity Cup was more like a. Is it like a measuring stick or something?
No,
but,
it was not.
Okay, what's the measuring stick?
Exceptional Casey Palmer was in that Unity Cup.
Okay, but listen, you
a
try a few players.
Low pressure environment against Holland, against Trinidad and Tobago. Him star up the show. And the moment him reaching our pressure situation, him sell with World Cup and him the part now qualifiers. That is what you get. No, listen. In the game against Bombo Nigeria, Casey Palmer was trash against tougher opponent, the level that we expect him to be playing at. He was trash. But guess what? Against the C team that Trinidad put up in the Unity Cup, he was exceptional. He was messy. That goes to show you that levels matter. If he's playing against Trinidad and Tobago C team, a team that is already not good enough with them A side, and will play them C team and he look like a star, that means you can perform when you play higher opposition. And it showed when Roman Burrell got his chances to score, and it showed when Casey Palmer,
name the chances.
It showed when Casey Palmer got his chances in the Gold Cup and himself with fucking tournament. Me hate the man like pies, brother.
Bro. Name the chances, please. Name them.
Brother, you cannot name chances.
You never said chance. You said chances.
Yeah, you name the chances. So go and fuck mob right now because you have a brain, you have an eye, and you have fingers. Go and fuck mob. Look at the shots that you took, and that alone show your chances. Simple.
But let me
answer one
this, right?
simple question. Yes or no? Do you want Malik Mothershille in the national team?
Before I get to Mothershille,
no, just answer the one thing. Mothershille, we did that.
No, but I've not made my point. I've not made my point about Roman Burrell. Before I get to Mothershille, I have to talk about Roman Burrell. Yes, but
are you Mothershille? So don't tell me what.
Yeah, but you can't tell me. You can't tell me how to answer a question. Let me just.
Do you want Mothershille in the national team? Yes.
I plead the fifth. But let me just talk about Burrell for a second. Let me just talk about Burrell for a second. In terms of Roman Burrell, right? Why is it you talk about these missed chances, right? Roman Burrell literally just got a move to QPR. Historically speaking, QPR is known as a team that they have produced good players. This is the same QPR team that won an FA Cup, I believe it was, against Manchester City. This is the same QPR team that would have sold Eze recently. Eze has developed into a wonderful player that Arsenal is seeking his services for around 60-something million pounds, right? So, Roman Burrell has made a massive jump into the championship. Yeah. And I think he's in a good team and he deserves his move. So you're telling me that Warner Brown would have deserved more chances than a Roman Burrell in the Gold Cup that we would have recently dropped out of in the group stage?
I am not
the fact of the matter is Roman Burrell.
Conversation is not about Warner Brown. Did you ask me about Warner Brown? Did you ask me why you bring up Warner Brown? Did you ask me about my opinion on Warner Brown?
The fact is Roman Burrell was introduced against Trinidad.
Did you ask me about my opinion on Warner Brown? Why you bring up Warner Brown?
If irrespective of the teams that we played in the Unity Cup, Roman Burrell had a good first game against Trinidad. I think he was one of the best players alongside. Well,
Trinidad
not
C team.
Roman Burrell was one of the best players, right?
Trinidad C team. When do against tougher opposition?
Against Nigeria.
When do against Nigeria? When do him come on against Guatemala?
But there's context to everything, bro. There's context to everything. Jamaica had to play deep and defensively against
Stop
Nigeria.
Make it difficult. I could say Burrell is better than Brown. So guess what? If we compare both Burrell and Brown, we could just put them one side for now. Whichever one start over the other. Let's put them one side for now. Answer this one simple question. Do you want Malik Mothershille in the national team? Yes or no? Do not plead the fifth. We're on a show.
You can't tell me what you plead. I plead the fifth. I don't have to answer the question.
It's a simple question.
I plead the fifth.
Put it aside for a reason. Say for example, right? Say for example, Roman Burrell was the starter and Warner Brown was the backup. Would you want Malik Mothershille in the national team? Yes or no?
I don't know. I plead the fifth.
People, the
But
reason why I plead the fifth, it's evident. Because he know the next question I'm gonna ask is who you would have take out for him?
it's not
Who
about,
would you
it's not
take
about
out
being
for him?
evident. The fact is,
He knows that he
Borrell,
wants
the fact
Malik
is, hold
Mothershille in
on.
the
The
national
fact
team over
is,
one of them.
Borrell
But he
wasn't
just
given
don't
a fair
want to come on a
opportunity.
public platform and say, I want everyone him want to take out. Because I know Pressa. Pressa likes Borrell. Pressa believes that Borrell is better than Brown. Pressa wants Borrell to start over Brown. I know that personally. But because Borrell is a second
confused
choice,
about what?
right
I'm not
now in the
confused
national
about.
team,
I'm not confused about who's
Warner
better,
Brown,
Eddie.
he knows that when him answer the question and say yes to Malik Mothershille in the national team, my next question to him is going to be who you want out. And naturally, as the second choice striker in the team, Roman Borrell would be the first option to be out.
Listen,
it's common
not
sense.
about. It's not about wanting somebody out. I'm not talking about
It
Warner
has to
Brown.
be that. If you
But
want
listen,
somebody to
I
come
am
in,
not
somebody have to
talking
come
about.
out. That is
Listen,
football. Isn't that football? If you want somebody to come in, somebody have to come out. That is football. So why are you telling me it's not about that? It is about that, plain and simple. I know you want Malik Mothershille in the team, so it's a very fair and simple question. Who do you want to come out so that to facilitate him in there? Very simple. If you want one of them to come out, then say that. Say it with your chest. Why, you afraid of backlash? You're afraid to say, you know, like what about you want him to come out to the national team and play for JPL side, JPL side? Say it to their chest. You prefer Borrell over the man. Just like how True did in our comment section. Can say Borrell is better than Brown. Say it to their chest, Presser. If you believe Borrell is better than Brown and you want Brown out for Mothershille in, then say it. But don't come look for me and tell me say you plead the fifth. That's why the man them call it 50-50 on YouTube. But plead fifth. If you come on podcast and I plead fifth to football in question, you want people to take you serious so bad, man? If you plead fifth to a simple question.
But yeah, as I said, I don't think Borrell was given a fair opportunity in that sense in the Gold Cup. But you know, pertaining to Malik Mothershille in terms of moving forward, should he be in the national team? Definitely, you know, he should be in the national team moving forward.
Who for?
I don't know. He should just be in the national team.
He should
just
be in the national team. Somebody have to come out.
Well,
so if you're advocating for him to be in the national team, you must be advocating for someone else out. Talk with your chest.
I don't know. You can't select 26 individuals, so.
All right, so who you come out? You were against Mikel Antonio. So why not say Mikel Antonio? Someone has to come out. Who do you want to replace? It can be a winger. It can be Kyle Dixon.
I think Mikel Antonio. I've changed my mind. I think Mikel Antonio should be in the national team moving forward.
You think he should be in the national team? Okay,
no problem. Even without a club, Mikel Antonio should be in the national team.
Okay, so no problem. And you're on record saying that. So nobody should up your mouth when in a month's time. I'm glad say you said that on the record. Conrad, we know he's a man there all the while.
I mean, even though it's on record, I can also change my mind in a month's time. So you know, who knows?
Well, don't say you never say it. I use a man love say you never say things and things up on the record. So I'm glad Conrad and them man are there. So who would you like to be in the national team since you want Mothershille in? Or out of the national team since you want Mothershille in? It can be a winger. Remember, he plays attacking midfield.
I mean, you can extend the squad to 27. So
you cannot. You cannot.
Well,
the squad cannot be extended to 27.
Yeah, sure, we can write to FIFA and them change the rules. But in terms of Malik Mothershille, you know, I think he's a wonderful talent. You know, obviously would have performed exceptionally well last season. I mean, kind of surprising that he stayed in one. Felt as if he could. I mean, if Borrell made the jump to championship, I think Mothershille could have easily made the jump. Obviously, I'm not sure as to the clubs that would have been in for him, but you know, Stockport County, not a bad team. I think they kind of finished in the top 3 last season or something like that, or whichever position it was. I think they finished high last season. Let me just do some checks. 1 second.
Take some comments now, meanwhile. Truding, big up yourself. Once a Mothershille over Warner Brown, I will speak for Presser. People, I first man members to plead fifth. Or you have to plead the fifth and up on a football podcast where your whole point is to have strong opinions. Now you say Simon Jordan is your mentor. Now you say you rate them.
But you can't tell me how to plead. You can't tell me how to answer a question.
Simon Jordan would have never played fifth. You're a disgrace to your mentor, brother. You're an absolute disgrace.
I mean,
Real baller. Pick up yourself.
Stockport County finished third last season. So, yeah, Charlton would have made it to the championship alongside Wrexham and Birmingham. So,
All right. Big up
yeah.
yourself, real baller. Mothershille gets the edge over Brown or others. Kid is versatile. Exactly. A versatile attacker that is not going to scruff at chances. Honestly speaking, I've watched the Jamaica Premier League. For the 22 goals that Warner Brown scored, Warner Brown could have scored 66. Tell me that. Warner Brown need 1, 2, 3, 4 chance before him score one. That's what I try to say. Warner Brown, when you watch him at Arnett Garden, need 1, 2, 3, 4 chance to score one. You know what is in the favor of Warner Brown? Say the first ever match. Steve McClaren watching me now. In that game, we do the watch along with Tivoli against Arnett down at Stadium East. Him score a trick and him play like Mbappe. Tell you that. Him score a trick and him play like Mbappe, and they won the first ever match Steve McClaren watching me now. That is what was in the favor of Warner Brown up until this game. Tell you that, bro.
All right.
That single alone performance, the perfect game that he could have had, he had it in front of the national team coach on the very first day, and from that, they run with it. But if you watch him on a consistent basis, for the 22 him score, him could have scored 88.
All right.
He need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chance in a one game before him score a goal.
All right, enough from Warner Brown. Let me say this. We'll take one caller, so the link is in the comment section. But yeah, big up to Malik Mothershille and Warner Brown. But moving on,
we'll take some more comments, bro. Hold on one second. Swear them money, I say. BM, big up yourself, man. Say pressure drunk. Squad cannot be 27. Yeah, man, him drunk, man. He's a drink kind of people. One have to swear him. Sleepy Joe, pressure. Warner Brown over Antonio. Eddie Gunnaz says, pressure, you move coward. Remember, you did do the petition. Brave up. You know, pressure.
Yeah, but you can't tell me if I answer a question.
Skills 100. The coach is going to let Warner Brown expose himself before he lets him go. Exactly. And that is what happened. In the World Cup, he was exposed. He was out of his depth. That is what happened to Warner Brown. Too early. Yeah, him doing job, but you do a job at a particular level and at a certain level. Opposition when him score against and perform well against were Caribbean oppositions. He plays in the best league in the Caribbean. At some point, you have to understand that there are levels to this. You're not going to ask a player we are playing a League One to just make the jump and start playing Premier League football. You are going to see that that player is out of his depth. And that is what happened to Warner Brown. So there has to be some questions about the coach. Why if a man we are coached for 50 odd years, you can't foresight something like this? Or 30 odd years, you can't foresight something like this. You can't say a player has his limitations and you need to actually give other players a chance. Why did Warner Brown get so many chances and minutes in the Gold Cup even after we see what happened? And again, this is not a bash on Warner Brown. He's a big baller in the Jamaica Premier League. He still has a level to go up to, right? So, yeah, bro, you have your limitations. It's not just about Warner Brown and JPL players. Championship players have them limitations. League One players have them limitations. It's just the reality of football. You see, I rate Warner Brown for the level that he plays at. That no means that he's up the standard for top-level international football. And that was shown in the Gold Cup.
Well, let me say this. Or at least I'm asking this question. Isn't Zion different from heaven? I know about the Zion one, but I know I go heaven still. But maybe Zion is a different thing. I'm not really say Rastafari. What the God for the Rasta them name again? The one from Ethiopia, one of them country. So I don't think I go Zion still. I know some I go heaven. But yeah, yeah, we can move on to Richard Kingston. Richard King would have recently played against Celtic. Just yesterday, Celtic would have beat St. Mirren 1-0. You watch that game?
Yeah, man. Do you watch it, man? Watch first half. Watch piece of the second half. I think St. Mirren, they need some quality attacking players. They're a team that plays a back three, which means majority of the times you're going to be deep. Now, if you're going to be deep, you need to have the transition threat there. I think that's one of the reasons why them go for when name John Mark Alvin, because he has that speed and he has that transition threat, but they never give him a chance in that game. And it's understandable, he's new, he doesn't have that much international experience as King, he's a young player, and for flinging into a Celtic game that early, you're going to be asking a lot of him. But they definitely need improvements in the attacking areas because the back line held their own against a very good attacking Celtic team. But at some point, them are going to break if them attackers let them out of or support them. They can't expect for a defense for 90 minutes straight. And at the end of the day, it was a defensive mistake because of goal. One player, Richard King, passed the ball to a midfielder. He had a pass, but instead of pass, him dribble out and then win the ball. Goal, bam. Zane, one thing, I think he had a solid performance as it relates to his overall game. But one thing that I saw consistently, I never like, and it's not him alone. I see it with Damian Lowe, I see it with a lot of Jamaican defenders. Them love slide for no reason. Them love slide when them tackle. Them love slide when them try intercept. Them love slide. Them barely do anything standing. I think that's something what they need for coach out of him and that they will eventually coach out of him. And it's that sliding. You don't need to feel it's a slide. You slide when it's necessary, bro. If a ball get played through you, there's no need for you to slide off of the pitch to try to block across. Because if you really look at it, if you slide off of the pitch, that means you try to block the ball going directly to the goalkeeper's near post. No one does that anymore. People always have cut back the ball on top. So if you slide off of a pitch and the man play the ball on top, you waste your body. I mean, you stand up and you try to intercept. If you see the cut back, then you can slide off of it. If you see the near post, you can slide off of it. But don't just run in and just anticipate, say, and just slide in. I never like that. And that's something we see a lot. And it could have cost them if they were playing against a better team that were trained with cutbacks better. You see me? But apart from that, aerial duels, standing tackles, pushing up the team, being a calm presence, they defended well. But again, their attackers let them down in that game. And they have a lot can build on. They played against the best team in the Scottish Premier League and they only lost 1-0. So, better days ahead, I guess.
Yeah. I was about to say, losing 1-0 to Celtic isn't a bad result, especially for a team like St. Mirren. So, I mean, in terms of moving forward for like Jalmar Calvin and Richard King, I think, now is the time to just settle into the league and just, give a good account of themselves. From what I've heard about King, I think they've stated as he has been decent, nothing outstanding, So, he just has to improve and, him playing in a better league, obviously, will hopefully improve him and that can only bode well for the national team in terms of, if he does play well and if he does improve, then it also improves the national team defensively. But people, that is all for today. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, guys, stay safe.